Free Speech Nation. Later in the show, I'm going to be turning agony uncle. With the help of my panel, Josh Howie and Victor Daniels, we're going to help you deal with your unfiltered dilemmas. So just email us at gbviews@gbnews.com. .uk. We'll try our best to answer your issues. Now, on the show, we're often bringing you the stories of people who've been cancelled publicly for their views. My next guest claims she lost work because of her gender-critical beliefs. Sibyl Ruth is a writer and editor who until last year was working for Cornerstone's literary consultancy as one of its core editors. But the work started to dry up after she says a member of staff took objection to comments that Sibyl had expressed on Twitter. I'm delighted to say that Sibyl Ruth joins me now. Thanks so much for joining me. So you're working at this literary consultancy. Do you want to tell us exactly what happened to you?
Okay, well, you said that the work dried up. It was actually more dramatic than that. It was really, really sudden. I get given particular clients to work with. I'll work on a manuscript, or I'll work with a writer over a slightly longer period, helping them to make their work publishable. And I was just given a new client. I thought, great. I started reading the manuscript, getting ready to do a report.
Yes.
Contacted the agency saying, oh, can you just ask them to send the file in a different format? And what they said to me is actually, well, hang on, no, you're not working on this. There's been a mistake. I thought, this is really weird, because that's never happened before. It's not something that's supposed to happen. But I thought maybe there was an administrative error, that they'd just perhaps, sent it to the wrong editor by mistake. They weren't very apologetic, but I thought, okay, see what happens.
Yes.
A couple of weeks later, I thought, I'm still a bit worried. Maybe I'm not flavour of the month. So I thought, well, I'll go on the website and I'll just tweak my profile a bit to make sure that, all my experience is being highlighted. And I found I'd disappeared. They'd taken me off the website.
Oh, from the literary consultancy?
Yeah.
From Cornerstone?
Yeah, that's right. So, it sort of felt like a kind of strange dream. I kind of kept checking over, are they redoing the website? No, everybody else is there, but not me.
So they hadn't told you they're eliminating you from the website, and then presumably you asked what's going on, right?
Yes. So
what was
just
the
very
response?
straightforward. They said, oh, well, we don't think we're going to be using you anymore. And I was getting good feedback from clients.
Yes.
They'd just sent me some work. So it was sort of, on one hand, do some work for us. On the other hand, we're disappearing you.
Did they volunteer any information as to why they didn't want to use you anymore?
No, none whatsoever. There'd been an email that had gone round to all the editors saying, we reserve the right to not use anybody who isn't in accordance with our values.
Yes.
And I wrote back to them saying, well, values, equality, diversity, inclusion, all this is good. I did say that I felt I was concerned that sometimes the way in which that's interpreted means that sometimes debate can be suppressed.
Yes.
And I think it's very important for me as a gender-critical feminist, to be able to talk about what's going on to women in society.
Yes.
And I got a rather cool reply saying, that's been noted.
Wow.
I sort of said, if there's any problem, if you want to kind of talk more about equality and diversity in my views, let's talk to me. And it was just noted, and then it was after that I vanished from the website.
And so how was it confirmed that it is because of those views that you hold that they've removed you from the website?
I contacted the Free Speech Union because I felt I didn't really know what to say to them. I was just very, very puzzled.
Yes.
And I felt I needed a bit of advice about how to go forward. The Free Speech Union, who've been absolutely marvellous, said, do a subject access request. You've got the right, when you've been working for somebody, to see, their internal communications
Yes.
about you. And that revealed that, there'd been people saying, is Sibyl working on a project? Let's get rid of her. And
wow, okay.
Right,
so these were in emails and things like this.
And they were the sort of responses that you might give if somebody had been sticking their hand in the till
Yes.
or, being violently abusive to a client or something.
Yeah.
So that's really, then ACAS got involved. I was advised about employment tribunal procedures.
Yes.
And now it's ended up, I've got a tribunal coming up in September, which is in 2 stages. So sort of stage 1 is because when I joined Cornerstones, there's an agreement that I'm what's called an independent contractor.
Yeah.
That's a complicated one because independent contractor sounds great. I wasn't really that independent.
Okay.
That they are the people, Cornerstones were the people who drew up the contracts, who decided what cut of the fee I got, and really very much controlled how I worked.
So you were working very much for them and with them.
Yes.
And now they've decided they just don't... But to what extent do your personal beliefs mean that they are in violation of some kind of law here?
Well, when I'd actually emailed them, I talked, talking about, the way in which I interpreted equality and diversity inclusion. I said, I know that there's been a bit of a clampdown on, women being able to discuss, how they feel as women, wanting women-only spaces. What I think is really brilliant is that Maya Forstater has won her case. It's that, I'm a gender-critical feminist and, my beliefs are worthy of respect, discussing
That's
these
important,
beliefs are
isn't it?
completely within the law.
Your beliefs are protected by law since that case.
Absolutely. So that because I'm a gender-critical feminist and I talk about it, it seemed to be that the beliefs I was expressing on Twitter were being equated by Cornerstones as, I don't know, well, because they never gave me a proper explanation, it's a little difficult for me to know
what kind of things were you saying?
I think I was talking about my concerns about proposed reform to the Gender Recognition Act. I think I tweet quite a lot about the importance of women-only spaces. I live in Birmingham, and, for a lot of Muslim women, for them to be able to go to socialise, to exercise, it's important that there are women-only swimming sessions, that there are women-only gyms. And if those spaces, become open to somebody according to how their gender identity, then women, religious women aren't able to use those spaces.
Of course, yes.
And that's something which is, I think, should be of huge concern.
And of course, we've had debates about prison accommodation, hospital accommodation, even domestic violence, refuge centres, those kind of things, where women's only spaces, it's obvious that they need to be preserved to preserve people's rights.
But so I'm a writer, I'm an editor, but I'm also a member of society, and I just, want to be able to take part in all the social debates that are happening. And I think freedom of expression is really important.
But you weren't being abusive online or saying these outrageous, horrible things. These
No,
are the kind of...
I'd never want to target an individual. For example, if I saw a photograph, I think one thing that I did that may have possibly triggered this is there was a photograph of a man with very pronounced 5 o'clock shadow, but of a more feminine appearance, and somebody had tweeted, not quite what you want to see when you go in the ladies' loo.
Yes.
And my response had been nightmare, because I think the situation for women is nightmarish. We've always been told that we need to look after ourselves, we need to keep ourselves safe.
Yes.
And that, any space where you're undressing, you're less safe, you're more vulnerable. But it's no longer really possible to complain if your space is being violated, because you're at risk for male violence, but you're also at risk of being called transphobic and a bigot if you object to a male-bodied person in your space.
And clearly also at risk of losing your job.
Yes, which seems rather high price to pay. Yeah. And I'm challenging the legality of their decision. So first of all, I need to clarify that although nominally I was an independent contractor, that really that is more a device by which some employers will try to avoid taking any kind of responsibility.
I understand. So in terms of your case against them, we should say, where can people support you? Obviously, you've got a crowdfunder for this.
Yes, there's a website called Crowd Justice, and if you Google that and free speech rights, or you put in my name, Sibyl Ruth, you'll be able to find details.
And I know
of the case.
the Free Speech Union have been tweeting about this as well, so you'll be able to find it through the Free Speech Union.
Yes.
They were doing some fantastic work to defend women like yourself who are put in this position, people who are threatened with losing their jobs because they have an opinion that's protected by law.
Yes, and I absolutely believe, that when we're at work, that we need to be respectful to our colleagues, we need to be respectful to our customers. But I also feel that when we're at home, when we're talking to our friends, when we're talking to people on social media, that we need to be able to express our lawful opinions without employers saying, we don't like that, we don't agree with that, you're out.
Absolutely. Sibyl Ruth, thank you so much for joining us.